Good Monday afternoon, early evening, and welcome to the Gary Goff Show. TIffin University head football coach Gary Goff, our weekly look at TIffin University athletics. Coach Goff, how are you this fine evening, sir?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm sure you are. Our program tonight is brought to you by Tiffin Ace Hardware, the Animal Hospital of Tiffin, CF Professionals, Gary Gruse's office, the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, as well as State Farm Insurance, Ed Lape's office, and Steyer Seeds. Coach, I've been excited for this since Saturday afternoon, our first chance to do a game after, or a show after a victory. How does it feel to be sitting here tied atop the GLIAC standings at 1-0 as a Tiffin University Dragon head coach?
It feels great. I tell you, what a weekend we had, and what a way to start a season.
Yeah, it was so much fun, Coach. It was so much fun, and I told you before we got the show started, your post-game comments, it was so cool to hear that excitement, that emotion. You said you were the proudest father in the country on Saturday afternoon at your kids, and why wouldn't you be? Your kids put forth a great effort.
Well, I tell you, we've had a good camp. We had a good off-season. I mean, we've done everything we could to get prepared for that first game, but you never know how they're going to act in the first game.
Yeah.
And you'll see everything in the first game, all kinds of mistakes just because they're so excited to play. But you know what? We went out there. We saw adversity in both halves, like we knew we would, and the kids overcame it.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as we our first segment tonight. We'll break down the first half of our game against McKendree University this past Saturday, which the Tiffin University Dragons were 23-13 victors. Our second segment, we'll take a look at the second half. Our third segment, you'll be bringing one of your young athletes on. Coach, who are you bringing on with us this week?
We're going to bring in Josh Pribble, one of our new linebackers who had an outstanding game.
Yeah, he did. Made some absolutely huge plays, some turnovers on the defensive side. We'll get a chance to talk to Josh in our third segment. And then our final segment, we will preview our upcoming trip, the big trip that we take every year. Luckily, they don't do Upper Peninsula trips, both schools every year. They give it to you every other year. As we go on the road to Michigan Tech University, another unique challenge coming in for your kids because, for one, they haven't played a game yet either.
No, we'll be their first opponent. And, you learn a lot about your program in the first game. And, so they're going to have some of that first game jitters, I'm sure, as well. And hopefully we get better between week 1 and week 2, like good programs are supposed to do. And we'll go up there and have a good showing. Well,
let's talk a little bit about the opening week, the 23-13 victory over McKendree University. I think your kids, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your kids were a little excited at the start of the game, maybe a little too amped, because it seemed like it took you a few possessions to get your offense start getting in sync a little bit.
It did, and hey, a lot of credit to McKendree University as well, and Carl Polker and his staff do a great job, and they had a good game plan. But, we had a great practice on Tuesday. We had a good practice on Wednesday, and then Thursday was an average practice because the kids were ready to play a game.
Yeah.
So I didn't know what we were going to have on Saturday. And, at kickoff, the kids they can't sit still. I mean, they're on cloud 9, as I say to them all the time. But, it was good to get out there and actually go against another opponent and gain speed for the first time. You worry about that as a head coach because you're worried about how you're going to protect the football and stupid penalties, which we didn't have. So, first quarter was very, very slow offensively. McKendree did a really good job of mixing things up from, blitzes here and there, dropping 8, 9 even in some instances, and really mixing the looks up for James. But I did feel like we had some good drives early. We just didn't finish them.
Yeah. And McKendree, it was pretty easy to tell right from the get-go what they were about, what they were going to do. I mean, they lined up either in a wishbone type look or with split backs and a wing back who is. I found it strange the way he faces the side of the field. He doesn't even face the line of scrimmage at all. But it was pretty evident what they were going to try to do against you guys, which was run the football and control the clock. And that was evidenced by a 51-minute first half.
Oh, yeah. Well, you these wing T offenses you don't see quite often now.
No.
And their whole plan is keep moving the chains, keep us off the field.
You can't score for the most part if you don't have the ball.
Exactly, and especially a no-huddle team like we are. So they came in with a good game plan, and we didn't really know. We didn't know if they were going to be spread themselves like they were last year, or they're going to be strictly wing T. And you're right, they proved to us real fast in that first half that they wanted to ground the football out and nothing else. I think we had 28 plays in the first half. I think we're around 36, 37.
Yeah. Well, and, we take a look at that first quarter. Not a whole lot of offense happening in the first quarter. Both teams feeling each other out. And then the second quarter, we get a little bit of offense as McKendree breaks the ice. Gerard or something like that, I believe is his last name, got the 5-yard touchdown run to put them up 6-0. Momentum looked like it was going to swing to their side. The visiting team usually, you always want to be the one that scores first.
Sure.
And they get that first touchdown. And then how momentum changes, how things change, the extra point blocked picked up by one of your young man, Yoder.
Yoder.
And next thing you know, he's down the sideline, and then it ends up being a 2-point play for the Dragons. So instead of it being 7-0, we got a 6-2 ball game.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we preach all the time. Every play is very, very important. And then play the next play. You know, hey, they had a 70-yard drive, capped off with a touchdown run. It's very easy for a defense to get out there for field goal block and kind of hem-haw around and go through the motions, but play the next play, and we did. Joe Collard reached up and blocked it, and it took about 2 or 3 bounces right into the arms of Kyle Yoder, and that might have been the longest play in history. I think Kyle told us today he timed himself, and it was about 19 seconds. You know, but he scooped it and went 95 yards for 2-point conversion for us. But I tell you what, on that play right there, if you get a chance to watch it again, 2 young men, Brandon Persons and Antonio Eder, between the 2 of them, they blocked 7 people.
Oh my goodness!
On that run, and just the effort from the entire defense on that one play was unbelievable. And well, you talk about a momentum change.
Oh, geez.
You know, they kicked off to us. 6 plays later, we threw a touchdown pass. So defense really sparked. Special teams really sparked us in that first half.
And you know, for a play like that to work, for you to get a 2-point play on a 2-point conversion when you're on the defensive side of the ball, all 11 players do have to put in the job on that. I mean, Eder, he played a pretty nice darn game for the most part in the defensive backfield as well.
He did.
But yeah, all 11 players have to. You know, how does that work, Coach? Tell us a little bit from a coaching standpoint. The ball's blocked. Is there a signal that's yelled by everybody yells something so everybody knows we have the ball, or how does that work?
No, I mean, they're going to yell ball, but you hear the thud. You hear that it's blocked.
Oh, we can hear it in the press box.
Yeah, and you know, that defense all the time works on scooping and scoring. And you know, when we're running that safe extra point block there, you know, we got 2 guys on the wing for that. If it's blocked, you know, they're there to scoop and score.
Yeah.
So we practice that, but you know, what effort. I mean, I'm telling you, you got to see that play and see those 2 kids block 7 guys by themselves down the field.
That is fantastic.
You know, part of that's because Kyle was so slow that, you know, they were able to block people on the ground, get back up, chase him down, block somebody else.
Well, it looked like he was going to be caught around the 30-yard line, I believe it was, and he was able to make a man miss, and then the blocking set up for him to go ahead and take it back take it the rest of the way into the end zone. So
I'll tell you what, Kyle Yoder, great young man. He's a walk-on for us a year ago, and you talking about a program guy, somebody that you want in your program is going to make your program better because he works his tail off.
Yeah, I bet he was super excited as well.
It was so good to see him excited. And then after the game, his parents, boy, they, you know, smiles ear to ear, you know.
Yeah, and then the huge touchdown catch. After that, it was a 30-some yard pass play from your quarterback, James Capello, to I think it was Bertram Marks. That made that catch.
Marks.
What a catch. Fantastic. Yes. Laid out about 4 or 5 yards deep in the end zone and just capped off that momentum change to make it a 9-6 ball game.
I tell you, it was a great thrown ball and even a better catch. Bert has made catches like that all camp. You know, he started the last 6 games for us last year as a true freshman and made some plays then. And he's only going to get better as time goes. He's still a young pup, but what a great catch he made over his outside shoulder, diving for it in the back of the end zone. And, you know, that series right there between the blocked extra point and then that touchdown pass, you know, we really went in at halftime, you know, feeling like we had a big lead.
Yeah,
you know, the kids are really excited. And, you know, we had to calm them back down at halftime and tell them, hey, it's a new game. It's 0-0. We got to take the field. And we were getting the opening kickoff and go down and score. But those 2 plays really was the turning point, I could say, probably for the game because,
for sure, you
know, you take over a program that hadn't won in so long, you don't know how they're going to react when they see adversity for the first time, you know, in a live game. And, boy, they really stood it in the face and stepped up to the challenge.
Yeah, 9-6 was the lead then at the break after the Dragons with those 2 big plays. You mentioned Joseph Collard. What happened with his face mask there during the game? I mean, his face mask became dislodged. I think only like 1 screw was holding on the side.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well, he tackles one of the running backs, and the running back kind of falls on him, and then another lineman fall on top of him and the running back, and you can see the kind of guy falls on top of him and rakes across, and it just rips his face mask completely
My gosh,
off.
I hadn't seen anything like that.
Well, you know, they got that new rule now in college football that if a helmet comes off, that player's got to come out for a play.
Yeah, and helmets came off quite a bit in this ball game.
They really did, and it's a new emphasis in football that the helmets are supposed to be worn properly, very tight and secured. You know, and sometimes you still get hands to the face that are going to knock a helmet off. There's a few tackles that were tackled, you know, high that tore helmets off. But that one right there, I was sure to make sure the officials knew that it was a malfunction in the helmet rather than it was worn loosely.
Yeah. Well, I believe it was either a second down or a third down play when his helmet went off, and it was a short yardage situation.
Yes.
And we were talking during our game broadcast, like, well, that's one of the few guys on the defensive side that you want to see go out in a short yardage situation.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but hey, we did a good job of repairing it and getting right back out there.
Absolutely. This is the Gary Goff Show, brought to you today by TIffin Animal Hospital, CF Professionals Incorporated, Gary Gruse's office, the Ohio Mutual Insurance Group, Jim Kennedy's office, State Farm, Ed Lape's office, Steyer Seeds, and TIffin Ace Hardware. Let's go ahead and step aside and take a break. When we come back, we'll take a look at the second half of Tiffin University's 23-13 victory over McKendree University. You're listening to the Gary Goff Show on WTTF, Cool FM 93.3, and WTTF.com.